Hey guys, what's up? Marlon Moraes. You guys already know. If you wanna check the best picks for the fights, go Who You Got, bro. He's the best. He be making
Who You Got, bro. That's at WHOYOUGOT, bro. And remember, there's levels to this betting stuff, man. There's levels.
What's happening, you skint broke ass bastards? Go and follow Who You Got, bro, for all the best fight picks. I don't know. Do that. Fucking do that, Road Dog, you bird and you're flying. Yeah, peace out.
Hot boy. Hot boy. Hot boy. Paranoid at night, I'm looking out for my shadow. I don't know who tryna get me, come on, got them boys rattled. Out of nowhere in the game, RKO on the gravel. I'm not the same, I made a change and off the ego in battle. I used to swing and miss, now I tell her pop up like a batter. I don't talk to chatter, that's besides the matter. She got 8 cups, compliment me, told that girl I'm flat. It's still the same, ain't no before and after. In the south, but always rep the east coast. Shout out Massachusetts for the people.
There we go, Dan. Let me see your meat, boy.
Alright guys, we're back with another prediction video. This time it's going to be the Dana White Contender Series again. We went 4-1 last time with our predictions. We got the Ronnie Lawrence versus Jose Johnson fight wrong. I thought the fight would take place on the feet. Ends up Ronnie Lawrence full up Habib the dude, so you can't really call that, but it is what it is. So moving on to the first fight of this card, we have Aliaskhab Khizriev versus Henrique Shigemoto. So starting off with Khizriev, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but whatever. Khizriev comes in this fight with a perfect 12-0 record, fighting out of Russia. This is actually his first fight in 2 years, so take that for what it is. I know a lot of people believe in ring rust. I, for one, don't, so I don't really take that into account. I believe if you've been training year-round, you should be fine, and this guy looks like he's probably been training year-round. So he has a lot of power in his hands, heavy body strikes, his kicks to the body, his hooks to the body. He likes to attack the body, take away the energy of his opponent. But when he's in there, he walks his opponents down just to get in the cage. This guy has not one game plan. He's pretty good on the feet, but he wants to get the fight to the ground. He has pretty good takedowns, actually nasty takedowns, and his top control is some of the best I've seen that coming into the Contender Series. He has nasty top control, vicious ground and pound. He's just overall relentless in there. And he's coming up against Shigemoto, and he's coming into this fight riding an 8-fight win streak with a 13-3 record fighting out of Japan. He, he hasn't fought the best of opponents in Japan, but, just getting into his overall stats, skills, whatever. Decent kicks in hands, packs some power in his shots. He has powerful kicks. He definitely has some finishing ability when he hits his, but it's like usually when he hits his opponent, it's just clean. If he touches you on the chin, they're pretty much going out. Chin, temple, back of the head, top of the head, wherever it is, he has the ability to put somebody out. In terms of his grappling, he has good cage control. He doesn't really seem to want to get the fight to the ground. That being said, so this is going to be your classic striker versus grappler. I'm going to have to go with Khizriev on this one. Shigemoto hasn't fought the stiffest of competition. His last loss actually came to someone with 11-11 record. I don't know the odds yet, but I'm almost positive Khizriev might be a heavy favorite. But for this one, I think Khizriev's going to, take him to the ground and just absolutely dominate him on the ground. Shigemoto can't. He has the ability to catch Khizriev on the feet, but I just don't see it in this. I think even on the feet, Khizriev's going to be the more powerful of the two, but I don't see Khizriev keeping this on the feet. I think he gets the takedown relatively quick, and then kind of it's game over from there. Now, whether he gets it done in the first round, or just finishes inside the distance, I'm not really sure. But this guy is pretty relentless on the ground, and I definitely see him coming away with the victory here. All right, for our next fight, we have Draco, the Dracolini Rodriguez, going up against Leo Mana Boy. Mama boy, you get it? Martinez. So Draco comes in this fight riding a 2-fight win streak with a 6-1 record fighting out of Iowa. Now, real quick, these are going to be pretty quick just because there's not a lot of film on these guys. For most of them, actually, compared to my other ones. So the only film I can actually find on Draco was his amateur film. But just going off of that, he in his amateur film was all King of the Cage, and it's pretty good competition. So I wouldn't really gauge as amateur. I mean, they both they kind of look like pros, but he has been facing some pretty bad people anyway. So whatever. So he's light on his feet, a lot of bounce, very aggressive. He's a very aggressive striker, and he's not even a striker. I don't know what this guy is. Yeah, he's definitely a jiu-jitsu artist, but I haven't seen him go for many takedowns in this film. Most of the time, it's like he allows his opponent to take him down, and it's kind of game from there. You know, he has a rubber guard. He's a very dangerous close guard, but I don't really get his game plan. You know, he has a lot of power in his hands, it's in his kicks. But like I said, he wants this on the ground. His only loss was actually to Tony Gravely, who's actually a strong wrestler coming off of the Contender series and a now UFC contender. So take that for what it is. Now for his opponent, Leo Mana comes into this fight with he's riding a 5-fight win streak with a 6-1 record fighting out of Texas. Now this guy, when I saw him, I actually loved watching this guy's film. Super legit on the feet, very exciting to watch. He has a lot of finishes on his record, and just getting into his skills. You know, quick hands, quick snapping kicks, beats the hell out of his opponent's leg. You know, and that leaves his opponent. Anyone that's watching his film should be worried about those leg kicks coming into the fight. Definitely has a lot of finishing power. Given the fact that he has good accuracy in his hands too, it's gonna be a tough night for his opponents in there. Very long on his feet. He mixes it up well, sets up his strikes. In terms of getting this fight to the ground, his takedown defense was pretty good to me. Very, very, very quick sprawl. Even when he does get taken to the ground, he's very good off his back. Same deal here. He has a very good close guard, and he has some good get-ups as well. So, given looking at his grappling prowess, let's say, definitely a defensive grappler. But that's what he's going to need coming into this fight, because most people are going to look to take this guy to the ground. I know for one of his fights, I think it was like Cage Fever or something. I don't know. I'm not sure the promotion, but he's fighting this guy that just literally all he wanted to do was grind this fight on the ground, and Leo Mana busted his ass on the feet and then ended up knocking him out in, I think, the second or the third round. And that's going to be my prediction for this fight as well. I think Leo Mana is just going to be, he said in one of his interviews that he's going to be too much for Draco here, and I agree with him on that. Usually when I hear someone say that, I'm like, ugh, just guy talking to himself up, cares more about the talk than the actual fight itself. But Leo Mana I think he's a beast, and I think he's going to come into this fight and tear this man's legs up. He doesn't look most comfortable on the feet, and he doesn't show to be the best takedown artist either. So if you're not going to take this fight to the ground, and Leo Mana certainly is not going to go for a takedown for you to be able to pull guard or work your close guard, this is going to be a long day for Draco. So for this fight, I'm going to have to say Leo Mana. It could even be a first-round finish, but I'm going to go with second-round knockout. All right, we're on our next fight here. We're actually moving through this card pretty quickly, given the fact there's only 5. But for our next fight, we have Philip Megatron Haws taking on Khadzhimurat Bestaev. These Russian names, man, these are tough. So Haws comes into this fight riding a 3-fight win streak with a 7-2 record fighting out of New Jersey. He's actually part of the Hard Knocks 365. I believe that's in Florida, but I don't quote me on that. So, and for most of you guys who've been following UFC, you guys know about Haws already. He lost his fight again to the Ultimate Fighter House on the Gadalia versus Young Jacek season. He lost against the guy named Andrew Sanchez, who was a very good BJJ artist. He actually won worlds at a young age, so take that for what it is. He has good boxing, decent kicks, powerful kicks, but they're not definitely not the best setups. Some good elbows off the clinch, but this guy is a wrestler, and that's his game plan. He wants to get this fight to the ground. He's a JUCO national champion coming out of Iowa, so his takedowns are going to be up there. But it's JUCO, whatever. No, it's not Iowa. It's not like he's actually fighting at Iowa, like Iowa State or Iowa University, like actual legit nasty wrestling. But he's a national champion JUCO, so you have to give him his credit. So he's going to be able to get this fight to the ground. But the question is, will he be able to keep it on the ground? He has good top control and ground and pound, but his opponents get up pretty often. And that's kind of, that concerns me, given the fact that he has all that muscle. And if you keep trying to take people down, eventually you're not going to be able to do it, and you're going to gas out. And we saw that against Julian Marquez, actually, in his last Contender Series fight. he was actually, he took down Julian Marquez, who was he's pretty good. Julian Marquez is no walk in the park, but he got tired, right? He kept going for multiple takedowns in the first round, and in the second round, I'm telling you, man, this dude Marquez bended it like Beckham and kicked this dude in the next year. Just kicked his jaw off his chin and just dropped. I know all you guys seen that viral knockout. Especially if you've seen this video, you've definitely seen that viral knockout. And that's tough to come back from. But he's back, and Dana White, I think he sees something in Haws that I don't see, but I don't know. We'll find out. And Bestaev, for his opponent, Bestaev, he comes in this fight riding a 2-fight win streak with a 10-3 record fighting out of California. And this guy's very, very tall. He's 6'6", so he's gonna have about 6 inches of height on Haws. But that being said, the people that Bestaev has been facing are actually terrible, like very bad records, some of the worst records I've seen. At least his last two opponents. One of them was like 1-8, I believe. And at that point, you just stop doing MMA. I know there's a passion in the sport, but bear with me. I don't know. You gotta find something else, brother. Maybe go into some jiu-jitsu tournaments or something. So Bestaev, I couldn't find anything recent on the guy, so I'm just kind of breaking down his fight based against Blake Troop. And it's probably one of the worst films to break down on him because he got absolutely smushed in there. He's terrible under pressure. He got taken down very easily. So that's what I'm going to go with this, man. I could be wrong, but I just think Haws is going to be able to take this dude to the mat and just kind of win it from there. From what I've seen, not the best takedown defense, and he's very tall. And if you have a 6-foot stocky wrestler underneath you, you're going to go flying. And Bestaev, given that 6'6" frame, he's not the most stocky. He's not going to have the low center of gravity. So I think Haws is going to get the better of the exchanges with being able to take him down. And even going back to him not being able to get the takedown and get tired out there, I don't think he's going to have much. Yeah, he's not going to have to put too much energy trying to take down a 6'6" guy, especially if he grinds him up against the cage and secures the takedown from there. Now, if he tries getting the takedown in the open, there might be some problems. He couldn't get hit with one of those long-ass fucking limbs, but for this, I'm going to have to go with Haws. I think Haws is going to be able to secure the takedown. Hopefully he doesn't try blowing his low trying to get that takedown. But if he comes in this, realize that it's probably his last chance to enter the UFC. I think if he fights this one smart, gets him against the cage, and just kind of grinds out the win, he'll definitely get it. Whether or not it's going to be exciting or not, it's going to be exciting enough for him to get the contract, we'll see, but who knows? Haws might even come in and just throw bows with this dude. Might throw bombs at his face and try to secure in the knockout. But I see a more wrestling-heavy game plan out of him. Hopefully he doesn't get choked out. He likes to leave his neck out there a lot, and his opponents can secure a choke. But I'm going to have to go with Haws with this. I'm not sure if I'm going to be betting it, but I'd imagine that Haws is going to come away with this victory. He might be the slight favorite, or given the name recognition, he'll probably be a heavy favorite, but I think it should be like a -150 here. But who knows? Or me? I have no idea. Yeah, this is gonna be an interesting fight for me, but I'm gonna go Haws. All right, so for the co-main event of the night, we have Cameron Church taking on Sherrard, the Thriller Blackledge. And the Thriller is actually a very fitting name for this guy. Blackledge comes in this fight with a perfect 4-0 record fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada. He kind of reminds me of like a Luis Pena, especially with his stance. He's very long and lanky, and he has the same stance as Luis Pena. If you look, it's almost like you do it. Do your tape study, and you'll see the similarities with him and Luis Pena here. So like I mentioned, lanky fighter, very tall, but he has some muscle on him too. So that's gonna do him pretty well in this fight. In terms of, remember Jose Johnson, he's kind of lanky, long, but literally had no muscle on him, and he just kind of got thrown around in there. You're not gonna see this in this guy. So take that for what it is. Now his striking, a lot of accuracy, measures his opponents well. Like he'll put out the jab with a lot of feints and just kind of fire down the middle with a straight. He has knocked out some opponents doing that. He's a very posed fighter. Even if he has the guy kind of wobbled and stunned in there, he won't try rushing the finish. He kind of likes to slow cook his opponents and then just kind of finish them off. So he definitely takes his time out there and very comfortable. And on the feet, man, he shows his opponents different strikes and feints before engaging. So it's definitely going to keep the opponent on edge the whole entire time and kind of rethink their whole entire game plan. And I see him being able to do that in this fight as well. He's very good a striker. He doesn't have crazy power, but the accuracy is there, like I mentioned. So if he touches you in the right spot, it's going to be pretty much game from there. And going back, like I've watched some of this guy's film, you can see a lot of growth over time. So even from like his last fight, he might be a completely different fighter from that fight as well. Because I watched like maybe from I think like a 2-year difference. This dude took leaps and bounds, man. Like super growth. He wasn't always the most poised and very calculated in his approach, but dude, in the most recent film I watched on him, the dude looked like he was in the UFC, like he belonged in the UFC already. He has some takedowns himself, but it's not like he wants to be on the ground. Like he's not going to push it there. In terms of his defense, very questionable takedown defense from what I was able to see. But not as terrible as Jose Johnson's, though. I promise you that. And even on the ground, he's decent on the ground. Yeah, only thing he has to be worried about, I'm sure if the opponent's just going to sit there and kind of, grind him out and try bludgeoning him to death or some shit, he'll be fine. But his submission awareness is, very good. The guy had him in a lot of submissions, and he was just kind of getting out of it. So I think on the ground he can handle his own there. Now his opponent, Cameron Church, is coming to this fight with a 4-0 record fighting out of Cali. Again, hasn't fought the best opponents, but just getting into his skills. He's a pressure fighter, headhunter in large portion of it. Nothing really stands out about this guy, right? His footwork is very ploddy, but he just walks down his opponents, He'll sometimes walk into shots when he's trying to throw, which is kind of a question mark for me, especially against someone as poised as Sherrard. I want to say Blackledge, but it's kind of a wordful there. So, Sherrard is going to be able to tag him when he comes in. In terms of his, he has a lot of power in his hands, especially his overhands and hooks. And the KO power is definitely there, but like I said, it's kind of it kind of reminds me of a Street Fighter brawl type style. It doesn't look as crisp as Sherrard. Sherrard is going to be the better striker in there. Going back to Church, his takedown defense is okay, but again, Sherrard's not going to be going for the takedown. And you guys can probably already tell who my pick for this fight's going to be. I think Sherrod's going to get the better of him on the feet, and if Cameron tries taking his fight to the ground, I don't think he has the best takedown ability, so I see him gassing himself out. So he's definitely not going to look to take this one to the ground. It might be kind of a barn burner in there. I see these guys getting into a lot of exchanges on the feet, and Sherrard being able to clip him. But be on the lookout. Cameron Church is no slouch in there. He's gonna be in there trying to fight for a contract. So anything can happen with this fight, but in terms of my prediction, I definitely think that Sherrod's going to get this one done. All right, and for our main event of the night, we have Tafon, the Don, Nchukwi. Nchukwi. We're going to go with that. Taking on Al Sweetness Montevo. Call him Al. So Al comes into this fight with a 4-fight win streak. And an 8-2 record fighting out of Alaska. He has big power in the early rounds. Let's just go with the first round, actually. But definitely fades in the second and the third. Especially if he has the opponent hurt in the first. He'll kind of throw his whole gas thing trying to get the finish. But he'll still be able to throw in those later rounds, but definitely no power on him. Now, powerful body kicks, big winding hooks. He's not the most technically sound, but he's the guy's going in there to take out your head. And in terms of his grappling, his takedown defense isn't there. He has the ability to stop the fight from going to the ground, but it's not the most technically sound. Going on to his fight with Aiden Jolly, actually, and this is the fight I was talking about. He was literally beating the shit out of Aiden Jolly the whole first round, just terrible. I thought this guy was going to go out with every single shot he got hit with, and his opponent was just getting cracked left and right and just wouldn't go down. For whatever reason, he wouldn't go down until the very last minute of the fight, and that kind of just shows, I guess, that even in the later rounds, it looks like he doesn't have a lot of power, but it could still be there, or the fact that Jolly just looked decrepit and had to stop because CTE was emerging. It was a pretty bad beatdown. And I don't know if that speaks on his power or that just speaks on Jolly's chin. I probably think it's Jolly's chin because this is in Alaska and there's a lot of creatures over there, so it might be in Jolly's chin. But I'll digress there. So in terms of going back to his striking, he's very sloppy with his strikes and tends to lose some exchanges. He'll dip his head a lot, and if an opponent recognizes that, I know one of his opponents, guy was coming off of World Series. I forget what promotion he was coming off of, but definitely shouldn't have been there. And dude dips his head, dude kicks him. So like, if the opponent sees that, they're gonna be able to take advantage of that. He loves to dips his head a lot, and it might not do too well for him in this fight. He hasn't shown much grappling in this film, but let's just go with he has some sort of takedown ability. But against this dude Tafon, man, dude, Tafon comes in this fight with a perfect 3-0 record fighting out of Maryland. His last win was actually against Dana White Contender Series alum William Knight, and now UFC contender. Shout out William. But that fight was, whew. You guys have to watch that fight. If you go back and watch that fight, very controversial stop. Now Tafon was getting the better of him on at least like whatever. The fight wasn't that long. It wasn't that long. I see everyone posting, "Oh, Tafon knocked out William Knight mercilessly." That dude, if you saw that fight, you know who saw the fight and who didn't see the fight just watching those comments. Because, man, dude, this guy was just laying there for a second. The ref stopped the fight. It wasn't, he was fully aware of what was going on. And then right away, just like the Kutilaba-Ankalaev fight, he was very aware. The fight got stopped, and he disputed it. So take it for what it is. I wish I could have saw that fight play out. These two undefeated guys, and they were going to battle in there. It got stopped short. It is what it is. But now Tafon gets his crack at the UFC. I was getting into this guy. You'll see him with a dope cape at weigh-ins. Comes in with this cape on some Game of Thrones shit. It's pretty funny. Get up there. But in terms of skills, man, he's slow and steady movement, quick, powerful leg kicks, good body position awareness. Like I know we had William Knight in the clinch, and William Knight was trying to get the body. And he just kind of brought that knee up, which you don't see most heavyweights being able to do. Brought that knee up, hit him with the knee inside the clinch. His takedown defense is very good. Nice elbows. He even had a spinning elbow. He threw a spinning elbow in there against William Knight. And, just going off the film again, not a lot of film on this guy, but from what I've seen against William Knight, this guy's going to take this fight here. Matavao or Al, he's just kind of sloppy in there. He has one trick. He's just trying to knock this dude out. And against Tafon, that's going to be a pretty hard feat. If he does knock out Tafon, I'll swallow my words. But this dude Tafon looks like legit. I personally think he's going to get the contract here. And you know what I think would be nasty? If they did Tafon versus William Knight, a rematch from the UFC. So I believe that this is going to happen in the future. I think that Tafon's going to get the contract here. Tafon's going to get the contract here, and he's going to fight William Knight again for a rematch inside the UFC. And that would be a beautiful, beautiful promotion. That would be dope. I would love to watch that fight and actually have it ref by legitimate refs and not these refs that have no idea what's going on. But for my fight, my prediction is to beat Tafon Don here. I don't think Al is going to be able to get it done. I think he hasn't been fighting the stiffest of competition on that scene. And given the fact that Tafon was able to kind of give it to William Knight, whatever that means, I think he comes away with the win here. Now, whether it's inside the distance, I'm not really sure. But given the fact that this dude, Al, throws everything in the first, I think Tafon's going to be a little bit too much for him on the feet. I think he's going to gas out. So I'm going to give it to Tafon with let's say a second round TKO.